Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
I wanted you to see that clip for effect. I want you to understand the importance of the work that you all do. There's a revolution that's been going on, and it seems that those of you in ag in the classroom have been involved in that revolution as long as I have, and you should commend yourself. I would ask you to take a second and just commend yourselves for the work that you've done in linking the garden to the classroom, to the cafeteria, and improving kids' knowledge of the earth and where their food comes from. We all know that many times you go in a classroom and you ask the child where something came from. Where will they tell you? The grocery store. They won't know the difference between a tree fruit or a root vegetable. And so you're reconnecting them with their earth. You're teaching them a little bit about the environment, about sustainability, and reconnecting them. And so I want to commend all of you, and I'd like you to commend yourself. Now, if you ever heard me speak, you know I need to take my jacket off. I want to tell you a little bit about the work that I've done with one hope, and one hope only: that you leave here inspired about the work that you do, encouraged by the obstacles that you meet, and committed to the work that we need to do on behalf of our children. You heard in this story that 1 in 3 children born in 2000 will come into contact in some way with diabetes. How many of you know someone who has diabetes? Look around the room. It's a deadly disease that, while genetic, can be in some cases cured by diet, or at least reduce the effects of diabetes. We found that the diabetes that kids would get or adults would get in early stages are now even showing up in preschool. The work that you do is important. I want you to understand that. In 1997, I was working in the Santa Monica Malibu School District when a parent asked me a simple question: what if? What if we brought our fruits and vegetables from the local farmer's market and served it in the cafeteria? We could get kids access to fresh fruits and vegetables in the peak season, because they would be picked within 48 hours. We could support the local farmer and the local economy. And I have to tell you that my general response was, here was another parent, an affluent parent with a little too much time on his hands. If you've ever been around Santa Monica, Malibu, you understand what I'm talking about. But I learned something in my 9.5 years in Santa Monica. There's a good reason why the affluent are affluent. They don't take no easily. So we decided we'd do an experiment with the preschool during summer, a 2-week experiment. He would go in with his group, and he would set up the salad bar, and it would fail, and he would go away. That was the expectation. It didn't happen that way. I walked in that morning and I saw the salad bar and I saw the colors. I saw that the fruit was user-friendly. Many of you know we've always had fruit in the school food service. We give a kid a whole apple. Do you know that most of the 3rd graders don't even have teeth? Why would we bother to give them a whole apple? Where does the apple end up? Thank you. So it was user-friendly, and that wasn't lost on me. The colors weren't lost. It wasn't lost on me that everything was cut up. The grapes were pulled off the stems, and the strawberries had been sliced. I went through the salad bar and I watched the kids take their salads, and I followed them, and I sat down and I ate and I talked with them. And I can tell you something. My life changed. My career changed. I didn't like school food service. Penny pinching business. You can't buy very good food, and then you get beat up for what you do buy. And that wasn't what I was accustomed to. I had worked in dinner houses, aboard the Queen Mary. I had worked in college and university. I was used to people appreciating the work that we did. So we decided we would go with this model. We would pilot it in an elementary school in 1997 in the fall. 3 years later, it was institutionalized in all 15 schools, the first of its kind model in the country, where it was not a part of the traditional lunch. It was an alternative to the traditional lunch. It was a full lunch, self-contained, with protein, vegetable, fruit, milk, and bread. And the kids could go through and they could eat as much as they want. They were encouraged to eat fruits and vegetables. Now, many people are going to tell you, and some of you have heard, that they already have salad bars in their school. They don't have salad bars, they have food bars. The kids go in the hotline, they get a hamburger and a milk, and now they have a reimbursable lunch. And if you're a director, you're happy because you get your reimbursement from the state and federal government. But I didn't do a thing to encourage kids to go out to the food bar that's out in the room and eat fruit, which I wouldn't do anyway because most of it is canned fruit. We're not encouraging our kids the way that we should. So I saw this opportunity. I have to tell you, that parent that approached me was a man by the name of Bob Gottlieb, who is the director of the Urban and Environmental Policy Institute at Occidental College. Authored 12 books. The director of the Henry Luce Center at Occidental, a Henry Luce professor. And I tease Bob to this day that he could have made life a lot easier for himself had he told me that right away. You think I would have been impressed? He's still a kook to me. So we went out and got grant money. We started the pilot, and for a year I never let Bob know what I thought. We just worked, and I grilled him with questions. You know, all the obstacles that are there. We're buying fresh fruit from small farmers. That created an obstacle in that school districts usually take 30 to 45 days to pay, and the farmer needs his money the next week. He's got cash flow problems. We had issues of how were we going to pick it up and deliver it, and who was going to clean the fruits and vegetables, and who was going to prepare it. How do you do all of those things? You hear all of that now when you approach school districts and food service directors. Everyone can tell you why we can't do something. When the fact of the matter is simple, and you all know this better than anyone, that if you want to do something, you'll find a way. And if you don't, you'll find an excuse. It really boils down to that. It would save us all a lot more time that when we're discussing with our possible collaborators and partners, if they were just honest enough to say, that's hard work, I don't want to do it. The work that we do is not for the faint of heart. The work that we do is about commitment to our children. How many of you in this room are working in a school district and make $200,000 a year? Do I need to repeat the question? Then my point is well taken. We don't do this for the money. We do it because we're committed to our children, we're committed to our earth, and we're committed to reconnecting children. But we got it institutionalized, the first model in the country. Visitors from all over the United States wanted to come and see and talk about and ask, how did we do it? And the skeptics, quite frankly, the skeptics many times are my colleagues. You know it. They'll tell you 100 reasons why we can't do what we should be doing. We should be leading the fight. We're nutrition services directors. We shouldn't have to depend on outsiders to encourage us to go and do the right thing. But let me defend my colleagues for a minute, because you have to understand we serve two masters. We serve a business manager, and I'm going to share the comments of my last two bosses. In Santa Monica, it was, I don't know anything about food service. I don't want to know anything about food service. Keep it out of my office and put $50,000 on the bottom line. You wonder why we sell sodas and Hostess Twinkies and such. In Riverside, my boss was, it was a little better. It was like, I don't know anything about food service. It wasn't under me in my last district. They tell me you're good at what you do, go do it. That was a little more encouraging, a lot more encouraging. Probably the biggest compliment I got from him 2 years into the program in Riverside, he said, I didn't know you could get so much attention from lettuce. So in Riverside, in Santa Monica, everyone said, well, that's the Republic of Santa Monica. After all, this is the place where I get a phone call from Kenny G, the saxophonist, and he wants to meet. And I go up to Point Doom and I meet with Kenny, and he says, Rodney, my son thinks the food is crap. I said, Kenny, I've seen your house. What your son is accustomed to, this food is crap. I'm like, put him in private school. We got a good laugh out of that, him and I. He said, I don't want to do that, Rodney, I want to help you. And so he would bring his private chef to the school and work with our cooks. He would pay the difference so that we could get higher quality food. He would do the marketing, and we would feed all the kids, and it was just a win-win-win for me. And I said, Kenny, we should do this every day. And the chef would be standing behind him with the knife like this. So in 2002, I have to tell you, that was a labor of love. It's a model that worked. It modifies kids' eating behaviors. Kids will eat healthy if given the choice. And for the nutritionist in the room who says, it's unsanitary, I know what kids do with their hands. We give them their hand sanitizer, and we send them through the line, and we teach them salad bar etiquette to cough away from the salad bar, that if they drop something to leave it, we'll get it. And what we saw is 25% of our kids were eating salad bars. In the first pilot school, where we were feeding 30 salad bar meals a day before the farmer's market, we were feeding 180. You can modify children's eating behaviors. We can get them to consume more fruits and vegetables like the experts tell us they should, so that we can reduce the effects of obesity and overweight. That's the responsibility. That's the challenge that I took. That's the passion that I feel as I talk to you today.